Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. Today we are going to discuss about the renal physiology, and within renal physiology we are going to discuss about the loop of Henle. Okay, so in loop of Henle we are going to discuss about various mechanisms, how further ions and water, what happened with the ions and water, and what happened with the osmolality. Before moving on loop of Henle, we already discussed about the glomerulus as well as Bowman capsule, and this area is basically a PCT. Okay, so we already discussed about all these three structures. Moving on, further structure about the loop of Henle. Clear? So in this area, this is the structure, particularly this is the blood vessels. Okay, so afferent arteriole, then efferent arterioles. Okay, clear everyone? Now look at in this area what kind of osmolarity we are getting over here. Okay, so here the osmolarity is 300 milliosmolar. Okay, and again here the osmolarity within the PCT was also 300 milliosmolar. Okay, so what about the ions? So various ion we already absorb, like we absorb glucose as well as we absorb water. Okay, so glucose we absorb almost 100%, as well as we also absorb lactate, clear, and amino acid in 100%. Then further we absorb almost 65% of H2O, 65% H2O we absorb, as well as 65% same amount of sodium we absorb. Clear? So this is the same amount we absorb within the PCT. So this area is basically we have a PCT. Now look at the loop of Henle. So what is the structure of loop of Henle? Or if we are calculating the structure of nephron, then the first structure in the nephron is our glomerulus, then Bowman capsule, then PCT, then a U-pin structure. That U-pin structure is basically known as a loop of Henle. If you are looking the loop of Henle, then look at here, this is the descending loop of Henle. This loop of Henle is divided into three parts. The first one is descending loop of Henle. Okay, so this is the thin region, this is the thin area. Okay, thin descending loop of Henle. Clear? And then further the thin area. Okay, continue. This is the U-turn over here, and then look at here, this is the thin area again, thin ascending loop of Henle. Clear? And then this area is basically a thick area. This is the thick area, thick ascending loop of Henle. Clear? If we are assuming this structure, now look at here, this is like this. Okay, so look at here, this is the thin area, again thin descending loop of Henle, then this is the U-turn, and if you are looking, then this is the another thick area. Clear everyone? Here we have a small part of thin area, and then further we have a thick area. Clear everyone? So this is the structure of basically of loop of Henle. So now look at here, now we are talking about the osmolarity. What will be the osmolarity? Osmolarity kya hogi? Okay, so in this area what will be the osmolarity? So again the osmolarity is similar, 300 milliosmolar. Now अब आप ये सोचिए कि ये 300 milliosmolar सेम कैसे रहा? So, however, we have absorbed so much amount of sodium and water, but why it is similar to 300 milliosmolar? क्यों ये वापस 300 milliosmolar है? तो उसका क्या रीज़न है? The reason is हमने यहाँ पर जो absorb किया था, we absorb 65% sodium and the same amount of water we absorb, same percentage of water we absorb. So जितना हमने salt absorb किया था, उतना ही हमने water को absorb कर लिया. तो अगर सेम अमाउंट अगर हम एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, इन दैट कंडीशन द ऑस्मोलरिटी रिमेन सेम. ओके, सो बिकॉज वी आर एब्जॉर्बिंग सेम अमाउंट ऑफ वाटर एंड साल्ट, दैट्स व्हाई द ऑस्मोलरिटी रिमेन सेम. क्लियर एवरीवन? नाउ लुक एट द about some osmolarity. What about the osmolarity? What is osmolarity? If we are talking about the osmolarity, then there are three words which are coming in our mind. The first one is hyperosmolarity, second one is hypoosmolarity, and the third one is isotonicity. Okay, so now we are looking on the hyperosmolarity. Okay, so this is what hyperosmolarity. Okay, and then hypoosmolarity, and then isotonic. Okay, so what is hyperosmolarity? Hyperosmolarity means we have a high amount of sodium and chloride. High amount of sodium and chloride. Okay, so there is a high amount of sodium and chloride, but less amount of H2O. Then if you are looking on hypoosmolar, means less amount of sodium and chloride, okay, and high amount of H2O. Clear everyone? If you are looking on the isotonicity, means there is a equal amount of sodium and chloride equal to H2O. Okay, so the amount of salt and water is equal with each other, then the condition is known as isotonicity. And if the sodium is lower, sodium and chloride means salts are lower and water are too much, then the condition is known as a hypoosmolar. And if there are too much salt and too less water, then the condition is known as a hyperosmolar. Okay, so now look at here, what happened when we moving in this direction to this direction. Clear? So now look at here, this is the medullary interstitial space. So in this area, what is the osmolarity? Look at here, the osmolarity in this area. So look at here we have a 300 milliosmolar. Okay, moving down towards the deeper side of medulla, then what happened? The osmolarity increasing regularly. Okay, so here if you are talking about the 300 milliosmolar, okay, and then here the osmolarity is 500 milliosmolar, and then if you are moving downside, then 700 milliosmolar. Okay, then further moving down, then it is 900 milliosmolar. Okay, and then further moving down, then it is 1200 milliosmolar. So again, this is a medullary interstitial gradient is developing over here. Clear? So this is the osmolarity changing in this area. Why this is the osmolarity changes in this area? So we are discussing this, why this happen in this area. Okay, now looking on the 2 points of loop of Henle. Okay, so ascending part and descending part. So we are looking on two important structural point of loop of Henle. So now look at here, we have some important point about ascending loop of Henle and descending limbs. Okay, so look at here, descending limb is permeable for water. It is permeable for water. Okay, and the wall of descending limb is impermeable for salt. Okay, the wall of this descending limb is impermeable for salt. So this is the structural point, anatomical point. If we are looking on the ascending limb, then what we find, it is a thick loop of Henle. Okay, so it is not permeable for water. Okay, the walls of this area is not permeable for water, and then further if you are again looking on another point, it is permeable for salt. Okay, it is permeable for salt. So now look at here, when we moving down from this side to this side, now look what happened in this side. This area is impermeable for water, but this area is permeable for salt. So how salt is moving from this area to this area. Okay, so now look at here, we have some kind of sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter. Okay, so this is basically a basolateral membrane. If you are looking over here, clear? So now look at here, we have another channel or a transporter. Look at on this transporter. what we have, this is the sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter. This is the what? Sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter. Okay, so from this transporter, what happened? Sodium ion move in the basolateral side from the luminal region. Okay, this is the tubular region and this is the luminal area of the tubular region. So from this luminal side, sodium ion is moving in this direction. Then if we are talking about the potassium ion, so again potassium ion further moving in this direction. And if we are talking about the chloride ion, then again 2 chloride ion moving in this direction. Okay, now what happened? The sodium present in this area again moving from the basolateral membrane, from these channels. They are different type of 3 channels from sodium, potassium and chloride. So again sodium moving from this area to this area. Okay, so again there is lot of sodium, and then potassium moving from this channel. Okay, so this is we have a what? Potassium. We have a what? Potassium moving in this side. So whole potassium is not move in this side. A little bit potassium is remain in this area as well. Okay, so little bit potassium is remain this area, and what happened with this area I am discussing after some time. And then if we are talking about the chloride, then what happened with the chloride? This chloride is moving by this direction. Okay, so 2 chloride are moving in this direction. Clear everyone? So now there are too much salt coming in this area. Same thing happened with this area. Sodium moving this side. Okay, and then potassium moving this side. Potassium moving this side from sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter, and then again okay 2 chloride are moving in this side. Again we have a what? 3 channels for each and every ion. Okay, so these ions are moving from this area, okay, this area and this area. So we have a 2 chloride move here, and we have a sodium move this side. Okay, and then we have a potassium moving in this side. Clear everyone? So this is about the ion. So when these ion move in this side, and there are so many transporter of sodium potassium 2 chloride, so much ions are moving in this side and water is not moved from this side. So what happened? There is an increase in the saltier, the area become more and more saltier. So when we moving down this side, what happened? The area become more and more saltier. What happened? The area become more and more saltier. Clear everyone? Okay, now look at here what happened with the potassium. Okay, now what happened with the potassium? So when some of the potassium is not move in this side, so when potassium remain in this area, and further like magnesium and calcium also remain in this area, so they are making this layer is positive. They are making this layer as a positive. All side has become positive. Clear? So what happened? So when these luminal layer is become positive, then if potassium is moving in this direction, okay, potassium is moving in this direction, then this positive charge repelling, because potassium is also a positive. So and magnesium when moving and calcium is moving, again again positive charge will repelling these ions. So what happened with these ions? Here we have a paracellular space. This is the paracellular space. So now look at here, the potassium ion moving from this area, okay, and again calcium and magnesium. So all these ion moving from paracellular space. So such kind of transport is known as a paracellular transport. This transport is known as a paracellular transport. Okay, clear everyone? So this such kind of thing happen with the potassium. Clear? Now look at here. Here we are in the one slowly and slowly the saltier property is increasing in the medullary interstitial area. Now what happened with the descending loop of Henle? Okay, in the descending loop of Henle, what we have, this wall is permeable for water. This wall is permeable for water but impermeable for salt. So for permeation of water, the wall having a specialized type of channel. What kind of these channels? These channels are basically known as a aquaporine channel. These channels are known as a aquaporine channel. Okay, so I am making the aquaporine channel over here. Now look at here what happened. So these are what? Aquaporine channel. Now look at here what happened. Here we have a H2O. Now H2O is moving in this direction. Okay, H2O is moving in this direction. So again here H2O is moved by aquaporine channel. These are what? Aquaporine channel. Aquaporine channel 1, type 1. Aquaporine channel type 1. So water is moving in this direction. Okay, now look at here. So again water is moving by this side and this side, and these aquaporine channel, but the ions are not moving. Clear everyone? So what happened in this area? Here we have a osmolarity is 300 milliosmolar. Here we have osmolarity is 300 milliosmolar. Okay, then further only water is moving and salt is not moving. Okay, so osmolarity is almost how much water is moving from this side to this side. Clear? So the water will move similar at that whenever here, if 300 milliosmolar is the osmolarity here, similar kind of osmolarity maintain over here. Okay, so basically I draw here 300 milliosmolar, but suppose if it here the area is 300 milliosmolar, then only whenever till both reach on the 300 milliosmolar, then only H2O transport is stopped. Similarly, H2O is moving down, moving from these channels, and sodium and chloride are not moving, then the osmolarity may change and the osmolarity is increasing. So here we have a 500 and then 700 and then 900 and then 1200. Okay, so osmolarity is increasing in this area. Okay, so what I am telling you, osmolarity is increasing. So it means this area become hypertonic. Okay, this area become hypertonic. Hypertonic means too much amount of sodium and chloride and lesser amount of H2O. Clear everyone? So in this area become hypertonic. So similar kind of hypertonicity is maintained in this area as well as in the thin area. Okay, now what happened when this area, then when this hyperosmolar fluid is moving in this direction, this hyperosmolar fluid is moving in this direction. So what happened? The sodium and potassium as well as chloride, means almost saltier ion, will move from this area to so when all these ions slowly and slowly moving in this area, okay, so they are moving into the medullary interstitial area, okay, by these transporter sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter. So when we are reaching in this area, so what is the osmolarity? What happened here? Sodium and chloride are moving in this area, but water is not moving because the thick wall is impermeable for water. So water remain in as such, but the ions like saltier ion moving in this direction. So the osmolarity is going down, so it will reach again in this area around 200 milliosmolar. Okay, so the range is 100 to 200 milliosmolar. Okay, and this area we have a DCT, distal convoluted tubule. Clear everyone? So here that osmolarity is decreasing. Okay, So this area is basically known as a this area is known as a hypotonic. Okay, hypoosmolar means we have a less amount of salt and high amount of H2O. Okay, so this area become hypotonic. Now look at here what happened regularly in this area. This area regularly moving saltier ion in medullary interstitial area, and this area regularly moving H2O water in this area. So when we moving down, what happened? H2O is moving in this direction, and when we moving in upside in the thicker area of loop of Henle or ascending loop of Henle, salts are moving in this direction. So these both are in the opposite direction and they are making a medullary interstitial gradient. Okay, so they are generating a medullary interstitial gradient. So such kind of mechanism is known as a counter current. This mechanism is known as a counter current multiplier mechanism. Okay, so this mechanism is known as a counter current multiplier mechanism. Okay, so by this mechanism we are generating medullary interstitial gradient. Okay, so through this mechanism we are generating what? Medullary interstitial gradient. Clear everyone? Okay, are you able to understand? Now look at here, what is this area is known as? What is the work of this area? This area is basically known as a vasa recta. This is what? Vasa recta is a branch of peritubular capillary, which is a part of basically efferent arterioles. Okay, so from efferent arteriole in this area there is a network of vasa recta. Okay, here is the network of vasa recta, means this is basically a branch of peritubular capillary. So what happened in this area and what is the function of this area? Okay, so now we are looking on this area. So now look at here what happened in this area. In vasa recta the blood flow is very sluggish. So in blood flow is very sluggish. So how blood flow is sluggish means blood is flowing very slowly movement. There is a very slow movement. If we are sometime we are doing a drama, and in drama what we are doing, if we are saying some person that you have to move very slowly, okay, then the person is move very slowly. Okay, very slowly. So similarly in this area the blood is moving very sluggishly. Okay, so now look at in this area what happened. In this side there is too much ions on this side. Okay, so again here we have again the osmolarity is 300, 500, 700, 900 and 1200. Okay, so what happened? Sodium and chloride ions moving in this direction. Okay, sodium and chloride ion moving in this direction. Okay, so now look at here, sodium ion now moving in chloride, sodium and chloride are moving in this direction. Clear? Now what happened within the vasa recta? H2O further moving in this direction. Okay, H2O moving outside from this area. Okay, so that's why what happened, salt is moving inside and H2O is moving outside. So the area become more and more saltier. That's why we at the uppermost point we are on the 300 milli-osmolarity and lowermost point we are reaching about the 1200 milli-osmolar. Okay, now when we making a U-turn, in the vasa recta, what happened? Okay, now look at here, sodium and chloride moving outside, Okay, these are sodium and chloride moving outside. Clear everyone? And what happened with the H2O? H2O moving inside. Okay, so what happened over here? Here we have a 1200 milliosmolar, but when we reaching up to this direction, the osmolarity is almost 325 milliosmolar, so little bit higher than this side. Okay, so what is the function of this vasa recta? Basically, what is the function of this vasa recta? So look at here, when there is so much sodium and potassium moving in this side, sodium, potassium and chloride are moving in this area, medullary interstitial area, then and water is moving in this area. Okay, so what happen if water is moving in this area? There is a possibility of sudden washout of sodium and chloride, means salty ions, wash out by the H2O. So to stop this washout, vasa recta help in stopping the washout of saltier ions. Okay, so basically vasa recta helping in preventing washout of saltier ion. Okay, so it basically maintain medullary osmotic gradient. वासा रेक्टा का जो रोल है वो क्या है? देखिए यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, बहुत सारा सोडियम एंड वाटर, जो सोडियम और जो साल्टियर आयन है, सोडियम है, क्लोराइड है एंड पोटेशियम है, वो हम यहाँ पर डाल रहे हैं. ओके, तो बहुत सारे साल्ट यहाँ पर आ गए. अब इस एरिया, डिसेंडिंग एरिया से क्या हो रहा है, बहुत सारा वाटर आ रहा है. तो ये वाटर कहीं इस पूरे साल्ट्स को बहा के ना ले जाए. ओके, ये पूरा साल्ट को कहीं बहा के ना ले जाए. अगर पूरे साल्ट को बहा के अगर ले जाएगा तो क्या होगा, यहाँ की जो मेडुलरी इंटरस्टिशियल ग्रेडियंट जो जनरेट हुआ है वो खत्म हो जाएगा. ओके, और ये मेडुलरी इंटरस्टिशियल ग्रेडियंट बना के रखना है. अगर ये नहीं बना के रखेंगे तो ये सारे एब्जॉर्प्शन जो आयंस के हैं होने वाले हैं वो नहीं होंगे. इसका मतलब वासा रेक्टा का क्या फंक्शन हो गया? वासा रेक्टा का फंक्शन ये है कि ये जो भी साल्ट मेडुलरी ऑस्मोटिक, मेडुलरी इंटरस्टिशियल और जो ऑस्मोटिक ग्रेडियंट है उसको बनाए रखना. टू द फंक्शन ऑफ वासा रेक्टा इज टू मेंटेन द मेडुलरी इंटरस्टिशियल ग्रेडियंट. It is not, remember this, it is not generating medullary interstitial gradient, it is maintaining the gradient. Okay, this is the one function of vasa recta. Then another function of vasa recta is what? It move the nutrition, in this area, nutrition in this area as well as oxygen in this area. So it help in the maintain of the nutrient which are required as well as oxygen which are required in this area for proper functioning. Clear everyone? Okay, so the latter part is DCT which we are going to discuss in the next lecture. So now look at here. Again I am summarizing all the thing in the what happened in the ascending lip and what happened in the descending lip. Now look at here, ascending lip and descending lips. The first one is descending lip and the second area is ascending lip. Okay, so we started with the ascending lip. Okay, so ascending lip में क्या हो रहा था? Basically it is not permeable for water and it is permeable for salt. Salt के लिए permeable था और यहाँ से salt move कर रहे थे. Further क्या हो रहा है? Salt is ejected into the interstitial fluid. साल्ट जो है यहाँ पर सोडियम पोटेशियम 2 क्लोराइड ट्रांसपोर्टर के थ्रू यहाँ पर इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड के अंदर इजेक्ट किए जा रहे थे. नाउ सोडियम पोटेशियम 2 क्लोराइड ट्रांसपोर्टर इज यूज फॉर ट्रांसपोर्ट. ओके, ये हम पढ़ ही चुके हैं. देन सोडियम इज एक्टिवली ट्रांसपोर्टेड अक्रॉस द बेसोलेटरल मेम्ब्रेन. जो बेसोलेटरल मेम्ब्रेन है वहाँ पर जो सोडियम है वो एक्टिवली ट्रांसपोर्ट हो रहा है. ओके, एंड पोटेशियम लिटिल बिट अमाउंट जो है वो लीक आउट हो रहा है और रेस्ट ऑफ द अमाउंट जो है रिपेल कर रहा है और फर्दर जो रिमेनिंग अमाउंट था वो पैरासेलुलर ट्रांसपोर्टेशन के थ्रू फर्दर रीएब्जॉर्ब हो रहा है. एंड जो क्लोराइड है वो पैसिवली ट्रांसपोर्ट होगी. क्लोराइड फॉलो पैसिवली. ओके, देन फ्लूइड एंटर इनटू द डिस्टल ट्यूब्यूल इज हाइपोटोनिक. ओके, सो यहाँ पर जो फ्लूइड एंटर हो रहा है वो कैसा था, हाइपोटोनिक. क्लियर एवरीवन. नाउ लुक एट हियर व्हाट अबाउट द डिसेंडिंग लिम्ब. जो डिसेंडिंग लिम्ब है उसके बारे में क्या है. तो पहली बात मैंने ये बताई आप लोगों को कि परमिएबल फॉर वाटर, ये वाटर के लिए परमिएबल है. तो यहाँ पर आप देखिए एक्वापोरिन चैनल मैंने आप लोगों के लिए बनाया है. ओके. देन इम्परमिएबल फॉर साल्ट, इट इज इम्परमिएबल फॉर साल्ट. सो साल्ट के लिए यहाँ परमिएबिलिटी नहीं है, साल्ट के लिए परमिएबिलिटी नहीं है. तो सराउंडिंग इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड इज hypertonic to filtrate in descending limb so as to drawn out of descending limb by osmosis. Okay. सो सराउंडिंग जो एरिया है वो हाइपरटोनिक है, उस वजह से H2O जो है वो कहाँ जाएगा, यहाँ पर इस एरिया से इस एरिया में जाएगा. ओके. एंड यहाँ पर नीचे क्या हो जाएगा, ऑलमोस्ट हाइपरटोनिक एनवायरनमेंट बन जाएगा. ओके. सो इंटरस्टिशियल फ्लूइड इन मेडुला बिकम हाइपरटोनिक. सो इंटरस्टिशियल जो फ्लूइड है वो कैसा बन जाएगा, हाइपरटोनिक. क्लियर एवरीवन. सो hopefully whatever I tell you in this lecture you are able to understand. Here I discuss some questions, so give answer of these questions.
Hello everyone, now it's time for question round. Question number 1, correct statement for descending limb of loop of Henle. A, it is permeable for water. B, it is impermeable for water. C, it is permeable for salt. D, it is impermeable for salt. A, first A and C, second B and C, third A and D, and fourth only A is correct. Question number 2, correct statement for ascending limb of loop of Henle. A, it is permeable for water. B, it is impermeable for water. C, it is permeable for salt. D, it is impermeable for salt. First A and C, second B and C, third A and D, and fourth only C is correct. Question number 3, vasa recta helps in A, generation of medullary interstitial gradient, B, maintenance of medullary interstitial gradient, C, both of these, and D, none of these. Question number 4, which of the following help in counter current exchange? A, vasa recta, B, glomerulus, C, proximal convoluted tubule, and D, Bowman capsule. Question number 5, in descending loop of Henle, which type of water transport channel help in water transport? A, aquaporin type 1 channel, B, aquaporin type 2 channel, C, aquaporin type 3 channel, and D, aquaporin type 4. Question number 6, in ascending loop of Henle, which type of transport channel mostly help in salt transport? A, sodium potassium 2 chloride transport, B, sodium magnesium ATPase pump, C, sodium leachate channel, and D, none of these. So I already given answer of all of these questions in my lecture, so go through with the lecture and answer in comment box.
As well as like the video, share the video, as well as subscribe the channel.